And a little too track to roll it in. Yeah. Great start and big money. That's really good. The family affair racing team and hour 1997 Northwest National Secretary car. Give a nice round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Great looking automobile. The family affair.
Top fuel drivers of the world. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we go back to the family affair racing with a great operation at Aston tonight. Seattle National Racing Record Hall. Few more of our racing teams being lined up back there in the stadium lanes. And we're going to have the pro drivers down there and stuff like that.
We said when they were lining up that sometime Hopkins would get that thing together. When Al Hopkins is on, you know it's fun. Why?
guys will tell you, much lower. Without getting real technical, there's much of a real problem, especially when equipment goes into it. With baseball, Forrest really would like, in fact, I said on NHA Today, which airs today, but already aired yours. I went out on a limb and I said, this is where John Prince is around. Qualifying everything, a couple of runs in the 530. I really like a team like Tim Wilkinson who came out in his gameplay, step up in the fuel category, not go out and try to get over your head, run a lot of races, make the ones that general big rapid area stuff. He's already won around you on the Western 20. He made a great point just a little while ago talking about the confidence of the Division 1 team. There was a time that it was last half of the race back before it really made it smooth. Last night, he liked the way the thing's coming around. He went out the last night and thought the car had an idea. Jack Ashels, Kendall, Super Winch, Mopar Performance, Dodge Avenger. More up to the turn road, Team Winston. Hoffman, fourth page, well, that's pretty clear to his end. And here's the kid, Del Worsham. And the checkers, Chuck, Corrigan Edwards. NEC, Communication Solutions. Machine, supply out of Plymouth, well on board. He's got a lot of folks in AAA here with him this weekend, and they're great support. Tracks down in Houston, down in Dallas, where they also do business. They do your grants program, so we'd like to thank all the folks from AAA. Welcome them here to Seattle International. And how about this? Open heart surgery earlier this year, missed a couple of races. First noted on one of the most confident drivers I've ever seen. Very interesting. Tell me what I'm particularly want to hear. Bruce Mender guys in the lane to deal with some awesome times here for it and with the April over there. The team has run 3 runs under the 20. Tim Wilkerson. HCIT car in the steer lane. Not real.
Well, I hope the number 7 is not necessarily lucky 7. That's how many they got stacked up at the trailer.
Bruce Allen is like 50 car, the 16th qualifier in the left-hand lane. They just are coming out of a spot not familiar to that Rare and Morrison machine, so we're going to have to see if Bruce Allen can run. He's Kurt Johnson. He's got great.
Yates just has not had many bad runs this year, let alone this race. He did have one earlier in qualifying, so I'd say he's probably due for a good pass here.
The Dale Ike owned and built Dodge Avenger for Scott Jeffrey on left-hand side. 95 miles an hour to losing 706. Won their effort here at Exhibition Pro.com. They can easily hit, actually. So you're saying Scott Jeffrey is going to use like a fellow like a doormat? Is that him? Is that what you're saying? I think he should. He's been on that free all weekend long. He did. You Chevrolet. The wind goes to 784, 170 miles an hour to a 785. So that could have been very Roger Bateman will be in the Goodyear lane, Winston lane, Bucky Austin. one wins here. Lucky Buffalo. Replay up on Winston Vision. The big Hemi of Tormato comes to life. They had nothing but routine maintenance between rounds to be stock eliminated. Stock eliminated. Eddie Hill on the other end. They had some breakers and had to do an awful lot of work. But he's back together and ready to go. It may not be pretty, but it sure is fast. In some cases, yeah. The guy said one time, I said, "Hey, this car's really." He's trying to raise price in the car show. That's the curious one time you have a good car show. I said, "Look, I mean, you don't think you know." He says, "8.3 pounds a gallon." Now, Joe Mato has just seen Dixon go down a pretty good run. I mean, it's not like we're starting with the Bernstein does not win this round. He does not get a chance to defend his championship. He's going to roll up the two big red cars right behind him. And the last thing that Joe Amato or Corey Masterson and Bernstein wanted to see was Selby get a gift. Yeah, that's what that team after all of that disassembly. Up on the big screen, that is the replay of a single run of Top Fuel. I mean, that baby doesn't move a foot one way or the other. Both up in the middle. Wow, on a 5-run, 59. What's so unbelievable, Alan Johnson is a one-man band taking that car. Running the Kenny Bernstein operation, you see the room out of there's like 5 guys. Sheldon, Dixon, Hill, Corey Mack in the next round. We need pro stock into the staging lane, please. Another figure speed. I can hear the contrast. The young man from Tokyo, Japan. He lives his occupation as a car salesman. He's a lot more than that. He's a first Mopar. Hang his tongue out the last 400 or 500 feet. It's going to be good. I mean, you're going to run in. You better run in the O's on this, I think, Steve, or you're going to go home. Guys would love to double up to their guys and all of the channels, so I can double in the all the units are we'll miss you. We'll always be you. I got the cookies. What days were? Never in his career had he been the quality racing that he is today at this very moment. But in the race, he would love to have Randy Anderson take out Ford, and if not, which fate will be in his own hands for the semifinal. You know, Randy had so many problems in 3 seasons of testing, but when he destroyed that car,
yeah, it's number 1, yeah.
Okay. Winding up on Winston Vision, that's the only camera with Randy Anderson. It took us a while to get that set up because little short camera guys are hard to find. The good ones are always booked up. Well, here is Al Hoffman, and this is a crew that maybe worked harder than anybody else to get the car prepared. They broke a rod bolt in the first round, destroyed a whole lot of parts and pieces that they may not be quite as well inventoried as they were. When they had a major sponsor, they certainly have help, because we're talking about that $1 million that makes the difference. And Al Hoffman courageously out here running this circuit. I didn't think you named it. His white helmet in front of the car, pulling that body up. It seemed like he kind of married to the car, because the richer or poorer and sickness and health and better or worse and all that stuff, and he just keeps coming back. And I still say, Steve, that he could about throw a 5-10 out against Pentagon right here. Are John and Tony on the starting he knows going to the next round, when he's got worse than while the two big guys on the outside of the ladder. Al Ross's cars have always been animals to drive. But they're just fine. They're way up the return road. They know they got to get set for the champ in the next round. Hey, it'll be put up with the big surprises going into this round. Dustin Cambron is dancing again. Larry Morton had a late choice. 16 around Bruce Allen. And there'll be no joy in Farmingdale, New Jersey. This is a great story right here. Well, Warren Johnson hoping it's like son, like father in the same track. Oh, Winston side now. This will be very interesting. I'll take Larry Morgan for even money. Okay. How much even money? Equal as far as reaction time is concerned. Yeah, these babies might not even move in and stay. Everybody wants to stage last year and only one can. Stage is in. Larry, get in there.
Jason Baffery with the pros that were rocking in Seattle.
From Seattle International Raceway, these stories and more coming your way on NHRA Today.
NHRA Today is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
Welcome, everyone, to a rather oddly formatted NHRA Today. In the next half hour, we will bring you results from last weekend's Northwest Nationals in Seattle. But actually, for us, it is last weekend. We are in Seattle, and during this show, we're going to look at the event through the fans' eyes, see all the things behind the scenes that they're able to see and do. And a couple of things I can tell you for sure. Bring a felt marker for autographs. Bring your camera. You'll want that. And comfortable shoes, because you will walk the entire facility with us. Right now, though, put on your sunblock, because we're going to show you what's hot.
During the Western Swing, Federal Mogul Funny Car driver Todd Payton and his crew were guests of honor at Optima Batteries in Aurora, Colorado. They met employees, their families, and friends, signed a few autographs, and got a personal tour of the facility. After winning in Superstock at the Craftsman Nationals in St. Louis, Jeg Coughlin Jr. became the first NHRA driver to win a national event in 3 different categories during a single season. Jeg Jr. won Comp Eliminator in Atlanta, Super Gas in Englishtown, and Superstock in St. Louis.
It's quite an honor to be, I guess, a piece of NHRA history. We've just really been racing hard and running real well this year, and our whole team's been real strong. And you know, we can't say enough about, you know, the people here at JEGS and our folks working on our race team, because knock on wood, you know, we've had very competitive cars every week.
The 1998 inductees for the 8th Annual International Drag Racing Hall of Fame ceremony were announced. Among those to be honored are the late Leslie Lovett, Tom the Mongoose McEwen, and Gary Beck. The ceremonies take place in March of 1998. And finally, drag racing fans in the Southwest will be happy to know that there will be a national event at Firebird International Raceway into the year 2003. That after racetrack officials and the NHRA signed a multi-year agreement. Raceway officials also announced a $1 million upgrade that will add 4 more tower suites and 5,000 additional grandstand seats, all in time for next February's event. And that's what's hot.
Here's why you need that felt tip pen. Driver's autograph. Larry Dixon having some fun with the fans. No motorsport in the world offers you the access to the drivers like NHRA Winston Drag Racing. And here's a tip. Drivers who don't actively work on the vehicle, like Larry Dixon and his teammate Ron Capps, are a little easier to get to. They have more time. Then there's guys like Eddie Hill. Well, he does the best he can, but he's a pretty busy guy trying to go quick and fast.
Well, we love to sign autographs, and usually the best time for us is about an hour after we run. That gives me a chance to get back, get out of my fire suit, get the computer data up on the screen and analyze what we did right or wrong. And we'll, between Dan Olson and I, we'll chart the necessary changes, give it to the crew, and then while they're executing that, then a lot of times I can visit with the folks.
Well, usually I reserve an hour after last round of qualifying because I'm one of the dinosaurs and I work on my own car, so I don't have the time to devote to the fans, and I realize I need to devote that time to the fans, because if those fans aren't there, I'd have to get a real job, and that's frightening.
Just ask, mainly. It's not hard to do. We go out to the ropes periodically through the days, on and off all day long, spend as much time as we can out there. Our fans are what brings us out here, what makes this happen.
And here's a final tip on autographs. Keep that pen handy no matter where you are at the racetrack. Just walking through the pits, or you know, headed back to the stands, or you just never know where you might run into a driver.
Ice cream?
John, I'd love an ice cream. They got a drumstick?
You got drumsticks?
Yes, I do.
All right. Hey, I'm getting an ice cream. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the Simpson Brain Teaser with the Top Fuel Report. You're better at those Simpson Brain Teasers than I am. You know, you go to a drag race not intending to go to the movies, but you can if you want to. This is Winston's Thunder Theater, a little grandstand area here, and on that screen is one ground-pounded piece of film. It's about 8 minutes long, all the wild and crazy antics of NHRA Winston Championship drag racing, and the best part is maybe the Dolby stereo sound. Well, speaking of thunder, right now here is Jason Baffrey with a top fuel report from the Northwest Nationals.
To say that the Miller Lite Top Fuel team is unhappy with their performance so far in 1997 is probably a huge understatement. And as many teams do when they are struggling, the team and driver Larry Dixon have been testing, trying to find the right combination. However, the team came to an interesting solution to their problem.
We did a whole bunch of testing after Sears Point went up to Woodburn and ran the wheels off the car on Tuesday and Wednesday. And after we were all said and done, we scrapped everything we did, brought out our old car, you know, the old reliable hot rod, and man, it's just going right on down the track effortlessly.
That new old car that Dixon used to qualify 5th at the Northwest Nationals last weekend is the very same Murph McKinney chassis that he was so successful with in 1995.
I was very worried. I was paranoid about bringing it out and tarnishing its image because, God, we won Indy and the shootout, and we did so well with that. It's Rookie of the Year car. And we were doing so bad, it's like I didn't want to jinx the car, but it looks like it's taking the jinx out of us.
Dixon used a series of strong runs to land himself in the semifinals, where he took on #1 qualifier Gary Scelzi. After getting the whole shot off the start, Dixon lost the blower belt and was forced to watch as the Team Winston dragster turned on the win light with a 482 at 305 miles per hour. The other semifinal pairing was made up of Eddie Hill, back from his crash the week before in Sonoma, and the red-hot Corey McLenithan. The McDonald's car took an effortless win with a 471 at 310 miles per hour to Hill's troubled 5:59 elapsed time. The final was set to be a great race. Corey Mack in the near lane got off the starting line first and held the advantage to the finish line, where he crossed with a 473 at 313 miles per hour to defeat Scelzi's quicker 471 at 310 miles per hour. The win placed McLenithan in the record books as one of only 2 drivers to ever win all 3 races on the Western Swing.
Everybody's worked so hard for this, but to come out with a new car in Denver and sweep the whole swing, I mean, I know there's only one other guy that's done that, Joe Amato. And to be anywhere near the 5-time world champion, that's pretty awesome.
Gary Scelzi has a 210-point lead over Joe Amato in the Winston Top Fuel points. Corey McLenithan is 3rd. Mike Dunn leads the second half of the field in 6th. And Shelly Anderson rounds out the top 10. Our Mopar high performer in Top Fuel is Corey McLenithan for scoring 3 in a row.
Boy, I am just full of hot tips today. Here's another one. Before you plan your trip to a national event, pick up a copy of National Dragster magazine, the previous issue. In the instance of Seattle, pretty cool, huh? A layout of the racetrack so you know where you're going, a map of the area, what time things happen, who won last year's race, all kinds of pertinent information in this, what they call the survival guide. Oh, you don't get National Dragster? Well, you must not be a member of NHRA. Because when you join for $57, you get 48 issues of the best publication in drag racing. You get a pen, a patch, a decal, a rule book, and a bunch of other really neat stuff. And if you call the number on the screen right now, I'll make sure they give you absolutely free your choice of the Diamond P video, Drag Racing 96, or a great-looking NHRA membership T-shirt. And if you don't want to make the phone call, you got a home computer, hey, punch them up on the World Wide Web. And don't forget the new website for the U.S. Nationals coming up Labor Day weekend, www.usnationals.com. Punch that up, too. Stay with us. When we come back, Jason Baffrey will have the funny car report from the Northwest Nationals. Welcome back to Seattle. As I said at the top of the show, there's lots of things to see and do at virtually any national event, including here in the Winston Pavilion, this simulator. There's about 20 people in there. Talk about shake, rattle, and roll. And they're getting the Winston Cup experience, stock cars on the high banks of Daytona and Talladega. By the end of the year, they hope to have perfected the drag racing simulator. Well, Jason Baffrey has perfected the funny car report. Here he is.
As most drag racing fans probably know, the main topic of conversation in the sport lately has been John Force's supposed slump. And while the 6-time Winston champ hasn't won a race since the Winston Invitational, and he hasn't won the amount of races that he had by this time last year, slump may not be the accurate term to use. Perhaps it has been more of a period of enlightenment. Force's brain trust is searching for new paths to performance greatness, while John Force, the driver, is having to separate himself from John Force, the superstar, in order to reclaim victory.
The real truth is the ones that believe in themselves will win, and the ones that believe in their team, and I do believe in my guys. I'll tell you, this weekend, I didn't even get a rental car. I spent every day riding out back and forth with Coyle and the guys just to know exactly what the car was doing. Maybe I won so much I got away from it.
Force and the Castrol team appear to be only inches away from returning to the winner's circle. At Seattle, it was literally a matter of inches that kept him out of the final round. He faced Whit Bazemore in the semifinals and took a hole shot, but the Team Winston Funny Car was just a bit quicker as Bazemore crossed the finish line a whisper in front of Force with a 5.06 to the Castrol car's 5.08, with a total margin of victory of 0.03 of a second. Force's Castrol teammate and understudy Tony Pedregon found himself in his second final in 2 weeks as he laid down a 5.05 to Dale Worsham's problem-filled 6.97 in the other semifinal. In the final, Pedregon suffered the same fate as he had the week earlier, but this time the final round loss was a result of mechanical failure. Bazemore had some traction problems down track, but by then it did not matter, and he took his third win of the season. He now has his sights set on unseating Force from the points lead.
Right now, we may have some momentum. We were lucky today. We weren't perfect, but we still won. That's what it takes to win the championship. You can't just be perfect all the time. You've got to get a few lucky breaks.
Force still has a 114-point lead over Bazemore in the Winston Funny Car points. Randy Anderson is leading the second half of the field in 6th, and Dale Worsham closes out the top 10. Our Mopar high performers in Funny Car are Team Winston crew chief Rob Flynn and co-crew chief Chris Cunningham, fortuning Whit Bazemore to his third win of the season.
And now, DuPont Assurance and Quality Body Shops wants to tell you who's hot in the world of drag racing. Much has been made lately about the performance gap between the blown alcohol and injected nitro Federal Mogul dragsters. Well, that topic of conversation may be irrelevant in the very near future. At Seattle, Rick Santos became the first driver to push his blown car into the 540s on this 5.49 qualifying pass. Good enough for low ET of the meet.
It shook a little in low gear, and when I punched second, it took off and ran really well. It caught us all by surprise, but we were hoping for a mid-50 or something, and it just ran better than we thought.
That excellent run didn't go to waste as the #1 qualifier went on to win at the Northwest Nationals. Congratulations to Rick Santos and his crew, and be sure to join us next week when DuPont Assurance and Quality Body Shops will once again tell you who's hot in the world of drag racing.
Even the casual fan that comes out to SIR for all the fun and excitement might want to know what's going on in the world of drag racing. So on this pylon are all 4 pro categories in Winston points. Here's Pro Stock with Jim Yates and Warren Johnson. And over here we got Pro Stock Bikes with Matt Hines and John Myers. And over here we've got Funny Car, and on the far side is Top Fuel. Everything you'd want to know, except the sports report. For performance enthusiasts, young and old, there is nothing like a visit to NHRA's Manufacturers Midway at each and every national event. It's like the world's largest speed shop. 150 manufacturers, from parachutes to piston rings, from mufflers to manifolds. If you can't get the answer to your question from the experts here on the Midway, well, you got a real problem. And right now, Bob Fry has his Sportsman Report with a truly unique vehicle in all of the sport.
I know NHRA is talking about running all these new pickup trucks, but let me tell you something. Long before there were Chevy S10s, Dodge Dakotas, and Ford Rangers, there were Chevrolet El Caminos, and boy, could they race. Now this is a truck. Edmund Richardson, Dan Fletcher, classic Superstock names. 1966 El Camino Custom, a classic Superstock vehicle. Okay, so maybe it's not your first choice for the ultra-competitive class, but if you're Mark Paul, it is. And what are the names? Think of the L?
They're kind of impressed seeing an El Camino out there. They don't normally think that an El Camino would be a race car, and they've been really nice to me, welcoming me to the national events and divisionals, and they've been treating me really well.
Might have something to do with the fact this is not the fastest bullet in the gun. In fact, it's the second slowest vehicle in the class. But that doesn't seem to bother the 31-year-old sales rep from Spanaway, Washington. His aim in the game is pretty much the same.
Some good reaction times and running the number. They've got as hard a time chasing me down as I do having them chasing me.
What they're chasing is a 283 cubic inch engine. It's the only modification on the otherwise stock vehicle. Up front, original radio, a clock, heck, even the speedometer works. An aftermarket shifter, trans brake button, and a couple of gauges are all that's extra. This vehicle even has mufflers. In round 2, Paul met Frank Rossi in the only car from the modern era in this Sportsman Report, a 96 Olds Achiever. Reaction time advantage goes to Paul in the El Camino, when the win light goes to Grossi, who ran closer to the dial. Frank was then taken out by Kyle Seifel, who found himself in the final against Ken Johnston. Johnston, in his own classic, a 55 Chevrolet, got the handicap start. And when Seipel red lights in the blue car, this baby is over. Ken Johnston is your Super Stock winner at Seattle.
It's awesome. It's going to be my first national event trophy. And my wife's probably going to be jealous.
The rest of the winners go something like this. For NHRA Today, I'm Bob, a classic in my own right, Fry.
Stay with us, everyone. Our fun meter is far from pegged. When we come back, we'll have the Pro Stock results. I say Pro Stock results from the Northwest Nationals. Meanwhile, I'm going to check out all of this cool stuff. Welcome back, everyone, to last weekend's Northwest Nationals here in sunny Seattle. A dilemma for the first-time fan. Where to sit? Well, some people swear by as close to the starting line as you can physically get.
Well, I like the smell of the rubber and the alcohol, and it's really loud. All the action's right here.
Oh, well, then there are those fans who swear by a mid-track seat.
You can see it all. You can see the start, you can see the finish. It's the best place.
For the real hardcore fan, and hardcore fan to be, there is no place better than as close to the finish line as possible. Some tracks, they call themselves the 1,000-foot club.
Oh, yeah, it's the best place. You get to see them coming down at you at 300 miles an hour, nothing better.
Whoa, baby. It is thrilling to sit this far down. And a bonus at Seattle. Look at the view the fans get of Winston Vision, a replay of every race. Bottom line is there isn't a bad seat in the house. Here is Jason with the Pro Stock report.
It has not been business as usual in the Pro Stock pit of Mike Edwards at the last two races of the Western Swing. Team owner John Kite was admitted to the hospital after suffering a stroke following the Mopar Parts Mile High Nationals. Driver and crew went on to Sonoma without him, but they obviously had more than racing on their minds.
We qualified, we got beat first round, you know, and we're just pretty down, and you call home and John's no better, and it's just hard to keep going. And I asked him, I said, let's just bring it home, and he didn't say no, but I could tell he didn't want me to. So I think this is what he wants me to do, and if that's what he wants me to do, I'm going to stay out here.
With Kite's encouragement, the team qualified 10th at the Northwest Nationals and took out Mike Bell in round one. Next up was Steve Schmidt, and Edwards in the far lane not only cut a good light, but flat outran the Indianapolis engine builder. The Oklahoman didn't catch any breaks in the semis, with Warren Johnson providing the competition in the near lane. For the second round in a row, Edwards got a giant jump at the tree, and despite posting a 7:04 to the